Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. تعلم تذكر التذكير ونفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحظ ولا تمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وداعي إلى الهدى والدلالة الخير وابتغاء شر من نظرت وقربت رب سبحانه وتعالى. Bismillah. Last week, what did we talk about? A recap for Nadeem who wasn't here. You can come a little bit closer if you want.
Yeah. I was just trying to move this.
Yeah.
The third and sunnah wudu.
Yes.
Third sunnah halal haram and one more makruh.
Yes. Yeah. These familiar? Okay. What else did we do?
The third sunnah wudu.
The signs of puberty.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Oh, right.
We talked about them last week. So there are 3 signs for the signs of puberty. This is just a quick recap. But for the people who were present, we can explain to the people who weren't. What are the three signs of puberty in Islam?
For the women, the first sign of the monthly cycle.
Yeah, that's
For
right.
women.
For women. So that's one of the signs. So and it's above the age of 9. So anything before the age of 9 is not considered menstruation with regards to the scholars of fiqh. So anything after the age of 9, then between the age of 9 and 15, remember? Between the age of 9 and 15, if a girl begins her cycle, then that is one of the signs of puberty. And at that point, she is obliged to pray, she is obliged to fast, she is obliged to follow the religion and the pillars. And she opens herself to punishment and the recording of misdeeds if she doesn't pray or doesn't fast. Okay, so this is when boys and girls or men and women become accountable for their actions. Okay, yeah, so that was one.
Yusuf,
Yeah.
you remember for the boys?
We did do that as well, but we're still talking about the signs. Quick recap for the signs of puberty. So that was one. And then nocturnal emission, or the release of semen or sexual fluid. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Between the age of 9 and 15 again. So if that happens any between the age of 9 and 15, and obviously this is for men and for women, then they now become accountable. Okay. And then the last one, obviously, if none of those signs happen, no period, nor seminal discharge or sexual discharge, if they reach the age of 15, like they've done 15 years and are now moving into the 16th year, then they become accountable at that age. Okay? Does that make sense? And it's Islamic years, not English years or Gregorian years, so it's the lunar calendar. Okay? So they can find out their date of birth with a conversion, and then they just calculate 15 years to the 16th birthday. Okay, this is all a recap, inshallah, but we're just going over it quickly. And then we talked about the conditions or the conditions for using stones or tissue paper only for istinja. Yeah, and there was quite a few conditions. We won't mention each one of them. Or actually, no, we will mention them. What are the conditions?
Make intention.
No, this is wudu. That's sunnah. It's sunnah to use your left hand.
Is it like blowing water?
No, so these are the conditions that if these happen, then a person is allowed to only use toilet paper or stones and isn't required to use water for istinja, for cleaning themselves the private parts. Okay.
Washing your face from your hairline.
No, that's wudu.
Oh, are we talking about it?
Like in the
Cleaning themselves,
yeah,
the front and back.
like if you're in going through a desert and there's no water, running water.
Yeah,
You could use tissue.
yeah.
Or like
In
that.
what condition? What are the conditions?
If
We'll mention them quickly.
If you didn't have like a diarrhea or something.
Yeah, that's technically one of them. So if the fecal matter or the thing that comes out doesn't move from the position that it's in, okay, that's one. So it's to use a minimum of 3 wipes, yeah. If 3 is sufficient to wipe away the filth, then that's fine. But the minimum is 3. So if you can do it in 1 or 2, you still need to do 3. But if it doesn't work with 3, then you need to do more. You need to use more.
Numbers.
Odd numbers are recommended. So 5, 7, 9 until the place is clean. Okay. Naam. And the second is that it cleans the place, the place that you're wiping, and that the
If it doesn't clean, you have to use water, right?
yeah, yeah. So if any of these don't happen, if one of these 8 things doesn't happen, then water is necessary to be used. Okay. The second is that the excreta or the thing that comes out doesn't dry. The third is that it doesn't move from the position that it came out from, and that it doesn't mix with a foreign substance, and that it doesn't move past the position that it came out from. Okay, so for men, for example, the tip or the head of the penis, if the urine, for example, goes past the head of the penis, then that requires a person to use water to clean themselves. Okay, and for the backside, it's between the buttocks, and then that it doesn't mix with water. So if it mixes with water at any point, the fecal matter that is, then water is required to be used, and that the thing that you are wiping with is tahir, it's clean, it's pure, like a stone or tissue paper. Okay, and we mentioned wipes are not considered tissue because it has water in it. So as soon as you wipe, you break the one of the conditions for using stones or tissue. Okay, this is just a recap, so we won't delve too much into it. And then, like you said, Habib, we talked about the 5 ahkam, the 5 rulings in Islam. So there are 5 rulings: fard or wajib, which is obligatory; sunnah or mandub, which is things that are recommended, you get rewarded for if you do it, but you're not punished if you left it; halal or mubah, which are things that are permissible, so you're not punished if you perform them, nor are you rewarded if you do them. And then there's makruh. Makruh is disliked, so if you perform it, you're not sinful. However, if you avoid it, then you're rewarded. Yeah, makruh. And then finally haram, which is forbidden, and performing something haram is considered a misdeed, and leaving something haram you're rewarded for. Now, and then we also talked, Jazakallah khair, that's fine, my father. Wudu, the obligatory aspects of wudu, the things that absolutely need to be done. There were 6 things. Come on. Say them for Nadeem, because he wasn't here. Or Nadeem's going to say them even though he wasn't in the class. Go on. Hands, face, head, arms. Hands, face, head, arms, feet.
One more, is it? What else is it? Nose or ears? Nose.
How many have we got?
Mouth.
There's 6 things that absolutely have to be done. We meant. Go on. What are the 6 things?
Was the intention of them?
Intention is one of them, and it is the first one. Yes. So the intention we mentioned last week. Where do we say the intention? Where is the intention? How do you intend something?
Like
In your heart.
Use? In your heart. In your heart. Did you follow last week?
No, but
MashaAllah, just like inspiration, revelation, yeah? Okay, MashaAllah.
secretly online.
Maybe.
But I would like to watch it. So is it uploaded?
It hasn't been uploaded yet, but inshallah this week at some point. I've tried uploading it, but it hasn't fully worked. But inshallah, once it's uploaded onto YouTube, I'll send the link out, inshallah. So the first is intention, and the intention is قصد الشيء مقترنا بفعله. It's to intend something at the same time as the action, or beginning with the action. So remember we said water, and the second one is the face. Okay. So when you take a handful of water and the water begins to touch your face, that's where the intention lies. And we said the intention is in the heart. Okay, so you intend nawaitu fard al wudu. I intend the obligatory aspect of wudu, or nawaitu ghusl al wudu, as I think you said last week, Dad. Okay, or something similar. Okay, it's in the heart. However, the scholars say that it is recommended to say it with you, like say it out loud, to bring that intention into your heart. So it's not just an action. Okay. Naam. So the first is intention, and then the second is washing the face. Yeah, and we mentioned the boundaries of the face from the manbat al-sha'r, from the hairline, the normal hairline. Even if somebody is bald, it's still the normal hairline. Yeah, to the chin, and then from ear to ear. Okay, those are the boundaries of the face. Yeah, that's three. Then
your hair.
before the hair,
For the hair, your arm.
hands and arms. Hands and arms up to and including the elbow. Okay? Up to and including the elbow. Yeah?
I missed one there. So we got obviously
Intention.
We got face to face.
Face,
Yeah.
hands and arms.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Oh, did I say three?
Yeah.
That's the third. Hands and face is the third. Yeah? Fourth,
Your hair. You could
hair. And we said the minimum for the hair is just putting your finger under the tap and a droplet going onto your scalp, onto your head. Okay? So if you've got long hair, it's not a little bit by here, it's where the hair grows from. That's the minimum. Okay? Next,
your feet.
feet. That's number 5. Feet up to and including the ankles and between the toes. Okay? So the base of the feet, the top of the feet, between the toes, up to and including the ankle. Yeah? Last one.
To do an order.
That's it. That's the last one. For them to be done in order.
Ah.
Okay? So 2 of them are not actually actions. They're just descriptions of the actions or intention. Yeah? So
With
it's
hands, is it? It might be a handy thing, I guess. Actually, is it from there? You know, when you do the arms and
yeah.
when you do the arms, actually, is it? Do you just do it from the wrist or?
No, hands and arms. Completely.
Fingertip.
Yeah, from the fingertips. So whole hand and arms. Okay? So as many people do, they don't follow what we've just done. They'll do more than that, which is absolutely fine. Yeah, they'll do the sunnahs as well. Okay? So last week we did talk about the sunnahs as well. Okay? So the things that we've just mentioned, those 6 things, they are the fard. They are things that absolutely need to be done. So if you had a limited amount of water, or the next salah is about to come in and you've got a limited amount of time, then you would want to choose doing this type of wudu so that you're not missing the prayer, or you're not expending the limited amount of water that you have. Does that make sense? Okay. Now we also talked about sunnahs last week, recommended. So remember, we know the ahkam now, fard or wajib, which are things that absolutely need to be done. The 6 things that we just mentioned are wajib or fara'id. Yeah, they're things that have to be done in wudu, whatever happens. Okay? But we did mention some sunan. Okay, so you probably know sunan whether you're in the class last week or you weren't in the class. What are some sunan of wudu? Recommended actions to be done with wudu.
3 times.
3 times. Thalluth. Doing everything 3 times. Yes, that's one. Anything else? Nose. Istinshaq. Yeah? Mouth. Yeah? Madmada. Yeah?
Yes.
It's also sunnah to join them together, mouth and the nose. How do you do that? A handful of water, you take half and bring it into your mouth and swill around your mouth, and the other half is snorted into the nose, and then it's brought out with the left hand, out, and you spit out what you've done the mouth with. That's the recommended way to do it. Okay, so 1 handful, but it does both. Okay, you can also do the mouth separately 3 times, spit, 3 times, and then do the nose separately 3 times. But the recommended way is to join between the two. Okay? Anything else that's sunnah recommended to do in wudu?
Like your hair, but like all the way back.
Yes, the rest of the scalp. So the minimum is just a little bit, but the rest of the scalp, the entire head is actually sunnah. Okay? Good. Anything else? Ears? Yeah? Ears? Ears and earlobes. Not earlobes, also earlobes, but ear holes. Ear holes. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah? Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Yeah? So ears and ear holes. So all these, the folds in the ears, the tops, the backs of the ears, the ear holes themselves, they're all sunnah to do. Yeah? Anything else? Yusuf? Yeah, you do have to do that, but that's wajib. So between the toes are wajib. That's all right. Anything else?
Is there like a dua after you
Yes, that is a good one. There's a dua after it.
you complete your do?
Yes. So the dua, when you do the dua, also we'll mention facing the qibla while doing wudu, if possible, is sunnah. Okay? But the dua at the end is also sunnah. Okay? So when you do that dua, you lift your arms in the air. Yeah? You lift your arms in the air to the point where, as it has been mentioned in the sunnah, that the Prophet ﷺ's underarms could be seen when he was doing this dua. Yeah? And it's the dua after wudu. Yeah? أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. اللهم اجعلنا من التوابين. اللهم اجعلنا من التوابين واجعلنا من المتطهرين واجعلنا من عبادك الصالحين. Okay?
There was another one I used to Allahumma
There are sometimes different du'as for similar activities.
like in the toilet.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. You can't do the du'a in the bathroom. Okay, so if you're doing wudu in the bathroom, leave the bathroom and then do the du'a. Okay?
When making intention.
When making intention, also if you're in a bathroom, don't just keep it. Just do the intention in your heart. Okay? Make sense? Yeah. Also, in addition to that, there are du'as for specific limbs. Okay? So for example, they hear Allahumma harram sha'ri wa bashri min an-nar. Oh Allah, forbid the fire to touch my body or my hair. Okay? Or Allahumma a'tini kitabi bi yamini wa hasibni hisaban yasira. Oh Allah, give me the book by my right hand and give me an easy hisab, accountability. Give me easy accountability. Okay? And then with the left hand, Allahumma la ta'tini kitabi bi shimali wa la min wara'i dhahri. Ya Allah, don't give me the book with my left hand or behind my back, which some people, the worst people, will be given their book from behind their back, their book of actions. So there are many sunnahs related to this, but inshallah we've mentioned a few. The siwak, the miswak, very strong sunnah before salah and before wudu. Saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, saying A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, because we mentioned that the shaitan, his inroad before he even gets to salah, his inroad is trying to whisper to us while we're doing wudu. Okay? So we should focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in wudu, and inshallah that will also allow us or aid us to focus in salah as well. Okay? غسل الكفين إلى الكوعين, so washing the hands. Yeah, this is a sunnah that most people do. They'll wash their hands before they even touch the face. These are sunnahs. Okay? So when we do these, we intend nawaitu sunan al-wudu. I intend the sunnahs or the recommended actions of wudu. Okay? And then when you get to your face, nawaitu fard al-wudu. I intend the obligatory actions of wudu. That's when you get to the face. That's the main one. That's the one you can't miss. Okay? Mother, as you said, washing the mouth out, istinshaq, washing the nose, and al-jam' baynahuma, so doing them with one handful, as we mentioned, wal-mubalagha fihima, and to like excess or extend, like to wash them rigorously. Okay, so not just a little bit of water at the tip of just where the lips are, when the water goes in, it should swill around the mouth, so you're giving a complete wash to the mouth. Yeah, and the same with the nose, high and then out. The only time you don't do that is when you're fasting. Okay, don't do that. Don't baligh. Don't be excessive in cleansing the mouth and the nose, because if water goes up through the nose or down the throat, it breaks the fast. Okay, so this is the point where we're not excessive when cleaning the mouth and the nose. Make sense? Go on. So we know now that washing the mouth is something recommended to do. Okay, so you can wash your mouth out, but you need to be very careful that no droplets of water go down your throat. Okay, and some people who are very, very cautious will just avoid the mouth completely. Okay, when you're fasting. Okay, for the fear of them breaking their fast by swallowing a droplet of water. Okay, makes sense? Naam. Tathalluth, so 3 times, doing everything 3 times. Wiping the entire head, as we've said, and the ears and the ear holes. Takhleel al-asabi' al-yadayn. So doing this, washing between the fingers and the toes. Okay. Naam. Muwala, continuously doing it, so not having a break between each one. Muwala here, or what is considered consistency, or like not breaking it off, is that no limb gets dry before you get to the next limb. Okay, so to be continuous. Okay, tayammum, so beginning with the right and then the left, where right and left is involved. Obviously the face is the face. Italatul ghurra wa tahjeel, extending the boundaries of the face and extending the limits of the arms up to the shoulders, and the legs up to the knees. We mentioned last week, what did we mention regarding extending the boundaries? Extending the boundaries. Yeah. What did we mention about it? About Yawm al-Qiyamah?
That those parts will shine. They will know the people who've done the wudu further than they should do.
So exactly, those limbs will shine. So the places where we've done wudu will shine. Okay, and it's referred to as ghurran muhajjalin because of the horses. Some horses have like patches, like white patches there, and also their legs. They're like white part of the way up, and they're referred to with the same word. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ will know his nation on Yawm al-Qiyamah because he can see the light coming from the effects of wudu that they have. So to extend them is a sunnah. Okay, so for the legs up to the knees, for the arms up to the shoulders, and then for the face, the facial boundaries as well. Okay, so extending those boundaries. Naam. And then another thing that is recommended to do, or is sunnah to do, is not to have help when doing wudu. Okay, so not have somebody pouring the water for you and rubbing your limbs, unless they're unable to do it on themselves and they require help. In that situation, it's fine, it's permissible. Okay. Naam. One thing I wanted to mention, we didn't mention it last week. Khufs. Do you know what khufs are? Khufs are socks. Okay, they're socks but nowadays Arabs would also maybe refer to these socks as khufs. Okay, woolen socks or cotton socks. Okay, these are not the khufs that are talked about in fiqh. Okay, the khufs, we're allowed to wipe over the khufs in certain situations. Okay, so firstly, what is a khuf? A khuf is a leather sock, okay, or maybe more aptly a waterproof sock. Okay,
like the one you got me.
Like the one I got you. Like the one I got you. They're waterproof socks. Okay, so in certain situations, you're allowed to just wipe over those socks instead of taking your socks off and washing your feet. Okay, so the khuf is a waterproof sock. These, what we're wearing, I think everybody here, these, you can't do them on these. With cotton socks or woolen socks or material socks, they're not waterproof. Okay, even if they're thick socks, they're still not waterproof. Because if you walked in water, you'd have wet socks. Okay, so they don't fulfill the conditions of khufs. Khufs, they have conditions. They need to be waterproof. Okay, they need to be waterproof, and they need to be able to have a journey. They need to be able to be walked on a long journey and not be damaged. Okay? Does that make sense? So these don't fulfill the conditions because water would penetrate directly through. Okay? And if we try to, also it would not fulfill a condition if we went on a long journey or a walk with just socks, not shoes now. If we went with just socks, we'd probably get to the end of the road here and there's a hole in the sock. The leather socks that the Sahaba used were sturdy socks, okay? And there are socks here. There's a brand called Seal Skins that make these socks, okay? And they fulfill the conditions. They're thick, they're waterproof, and you can go on a journey with them and they won't have any holes in, okay? If a khuf, even if it's a leather socks, if it has a hole in for some reason, then it doesn't fulfill the condition, okay? One of the conditions is that water doesn't penetrate through it, other than if there's laces, okay? But most leather socks nowadays don't even have laces, okay? Or they're flexible and durable, okay? And they also need to be as high as the ankle. You know the ankle bone? You know, they need to be, the khufs need to be above the ankle bone, okay? Basically the area where you would wash with water, the khufs need to cover that, okay? Does that make sense? Now, how do you, when are we allowed to use these? Do we wake up in the morning and we can put these leather socks on and then we can wipe over? No, okay? We need to have done wudu that day, okay? If we do wudu and then we put the leather socks on or the waterproof socks on, okay? Whilst still in a state of wudu, and then we break our wudu, then we're allowed to use the khufs. Okay, so we do wudu as normal. We wash our face. We wash our arms, hands and arms up to and including the elbow. We wash the hair, and then when it gets to the feet, okay, we put our hands under the water and we wipe the top of the sock. We wipe the top of the waterproof sock. Okay, the right one and then the left one. Okay, not the bottom. It's the top. Does that make sense? So for us to be able to use the sock or the waterproof sock, we need to have done wudu that day. Okay? So if we wake up in the morning and we do wudu in the morning for Fajr, and then we put leather socks on, then we're still in a state of wudu. And then if we still have the leather socks on and we break our wudu, the point of the breaking of the wudu, say for example you broke your wudu at dhuhr, you have until the next day, dhuhr, to use the khufs, okay? But if you take the khufs off at any time, then you have to wash your feet, okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? For one day, so you get 1 day and 1 night, 24 hours basically, from the point of where you broke your wudu, okay? Makes sense, inshallah, yeah? If you're traveling, then you get 3 days, not 1 day. Yeah. But again, this is with the sock on. So as soon as you take your sock off, here's an example. You wake up in the morning, you pray Fajr, and then you put your leather socks on while you still have wudu, and then at dhuhr time, just before dhuhr, you break your wudu, okay? You break wind, for example. But you've got your leather socks on. So you do the wudu and then you just wipe over the top when you get to the part of the feet, and that's sufficient, okay? But Asr time, you've gone home and you want to relax and you've taken your leather socks off, okay? At that point,
you have to start again.
You don't have to start again, you just wash your feet. You just wash your feet at that point, okay? You can do wudu again, but it's sufficient for you to just wash your feet, okay? Makes sense, hopefully. Any questions? Because that's an important point. So many people use these cotton socks or material socks. Water will go through and you know, anybody who's done it for a couple of weeks will realize it'll make your shoes stink, your socks stink, and the carpet outside your bathroom stink. It's not, it doesn't fulfill the conditions. Makes sense, hopefully, yeah? Alhamdulillah.
Buy these leather socks.
You can buy them. This is going to be paid promotion now. You can buy them online. There's a company called Seal Skins. I'm not getting paid by Seal Skins to promote these, but you've heard of them, yeah? Yeah. So they're like outdoor gear, okay? But even like they don't need to be a great brand, just as long as they fulfill the condition. But these Seal Skins, they don't allow water to penetrate.
Standard leather ones. Isn't it?
All the standard leather ones, yeah. Yeah. Khair inshallah. So that's that. Okay. Naam. Naam. 15 minutes left ish. And that was all just the recap.
Extra minutes.
I know, I'm getting to. I was thinking, when is he going to start today?
No, that's all, well, we've covered new stuff that we didn't cover last week, so alhamdulillah. Yeah. There's a few makruhat of wudu. What's makruhat?
Disliked.
Huh? Is that what you said the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, disliked. So these are things that are disliked to do during wudu. Okay? So to avoid the washing out the mouth or the istinshaq, or doing the left first, or doing more than 3. So if you do more than 3, it's disliked. Or if you do less than 3, 1 or 2, it's also disliked. Okay?
Do an odd number.
No, it's not an odd number, it's 3. Yeah, so 1 or 2 would be disliked, 4 or 5 or more would also be disliked. Is it your question? Huh? What are we learning? Fiqh.
Someone's asking Shafi or Hanafi fiqh.
Shafi'i. But for people who don't know what Hanafi or Shafi'i is, it's important for them to be in this class. Naam. Naam. Also, to avoid having somebody help you wipe the limbs. Naam. Also, it's sunnah to, if you've got a thick beard, we did mention this last week, but to put your fingers through your beard, yeah? It's sunnah to put your fingers through your beard, okay? And it's disliked if you don't do that, okay? Naam. Naam. And also to be excessive with the water, okay? So inshallah, have the tap low, or just knock the tap down when you're washing each limb, inshallah. And it is haram to use water that is given as like a charitable water fountain. We don't really see them much here, but in hot countries, you'll find like people who will fill up like little water coolers, or sometimes they'll pay for like a massive tanker, and it's for people to drink, and it's a charity. Okay, so it's haram to use that, okay, as for wudu, unless you know the person and they allow that. They allow you to do wudu as well, okay? But just to be on the safe side, if you don't know, then just use it for drinking water and don't use it for wudu. And it's also haram to use the water that belongs to somebody else, unless you know that they wouldn't mind you using their water, okay?
What I'm using Mecca, you use Zamzam?
Yes, you can use Zamzam. You can use Zamzam.
Good question. If that water someone's donated is the only thing available, would you do tayammum, or can you use that?
If you know that it's a charity drinking fountain, and they haven't, because some people it's on their intention. Okay, so some people who hopefully know fiqh will say this water is free for the sake of Allah. Okay, so the people won't fall into a state of sin if they used it for wudu, or they used it, I don't know, to like wipe something off their car or whatever. Okay, but some people might do it strictly for charity, for drinking. Okay, and in that situation it's haram to use, so tayammum would be used otherwise if there was no other water. Okay, Wallahu a'lam. Okay, so again we're still in the purification bit of fiqh, okay? And it usually does start with purification. So we've talked about cleansing oneself after the bathroom and how to do wudu correctly. Now we're going to talk about water, okay? This is the, mashallah, this is the depth that our teachers have, or the scholars of Islam have like gone into to try and explain the religion to people. Naam. So in Islam you have ma qalil and ma kathir, a lot of water and a little bit of water. Qalil is a little bit and kathir is a lot, okay? So qalil or little water is anything less than qullatain. A qulla is a body of water, like a standard measurement in the Islamic tradition. Okay, so now we would use like liters and gallons and so on and so forth, but qulla would be a word used by the Arabs. Okay, qulla, but it's no longer in circulation. But basically, it's approximately 190 liters. Okay, 190 liters of water, or anything less than 190 liters of water is considered a small amount of water. Okay, and anything more than that, so 190 liters or more, is considered a large amount of water or a large body of water. Okay, and
Liters, not milliliters. No.
say again.
Liters.
Liters. Milliliters would be like half of this bottle, half of that bottle. Yeah. So 190 liters, maybe like a bathtub or whatever. It would be, the way they've described it as well is approximately 50 centimeters cubed. Okay, which is basically a box that's 50 centimeters, yeah, about that big, 50 centimeters across, 50 centimeters up, and 50 centimeters deep. Okay, yeah. So that amount of water is considered small or qalil. And then you have a large amount of water which is above the 190. Okay, why are we mentioning these? Because if we have water, a small amount of water, ma qalil, and najasa, which is an impurity, goes into that water, the whole body of water becomes najis, becomes impure. Okay, and we need to know what the type of water is to know whether or not we can do wudu with that water. Okay, we can do wudu with general water. Okay, so like tap water with conditions, river water, lake water, sea water, rain. Okay, but if we have it in a container, okay, which in some of other countries, alhamdulillah, we've got taps here, but in other countries you have like, people will get it out of the well and they've got like tubs of water. Okay, so if a little bit of najasa or impurity goes into that water, less than 190 liters, then that water is considered najasa, and you cannot perform wudu with that water. Okay, if it's more than 190 liters, then you can perform wudu with that water. Okay, there's conditions to it. So if najasa or an impurity fell into the large body of water, it would have to change a significant amount for it to not to be considered water that you can do wudu with. Okay, the ta'am, the lawn, and the rih, the taste, the color, and the smell. One of those things would need to change, and then that would be, then we wouldn't be able to use that for wudu. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. No. No. Yeah. So for the little amount of water, even if a little bit of impurity, and we'll talk about what impurities are, if a little bit of impurity goes into it, the whole body becomes infected, technically, yeah, and the whole body of water becomes impure. Okay, but for a large body of water, the loan, the taste or the smell or the color needs to change. Okay. Also, it's noteworthy mentioning that any liquid, if a najis or an impurity goes into anything liquid, then all of that liquid becomes impure. Okay, so for example, honey if blood, for example, got into honey, blood is an impurity, and if it got into honey, a small amount or a big amount, all of the honey is considered najasa, and you'd have to throw the honey away. It's considered impure, okay? And that's the same with any other liquid, milk, a squash, whatever.
Even if it was like something thick and you scrape the top off. Something like that.
No. Even if, unless the honey had gone hard, then that becomes a solid. But if it's a liquid, then the whole thing, or oil, yeah. No. There's a lot more detail to that, but inshallah we'll stick with that because it can get a bit technical. And the more we talk about it, the more questions arise. Naam. How long have we got? 10 minutes. Okay, we'll do this section. We'll do this section. Now. Okay, this next section is about ghusl. Ghusl, okay? Ghusl is when a person is required to have a complete shower or bath, okay? And there are two integrals for this. The two integrals for having ghusl or performing ghusl. The first, again, is intention, okay? And we'll find this with most if not all ibadat, okay? Intention, okay? So we intend to lift major ritual impurity. That would be the English, but in Arabic it would be janaba. The word is janaba. Nawaitu raf' al-janaba or nawaitu fard ghusl al-janaba, okay? Or nawaitu raf' al-hadath al-akbar. Okay, so there are many ways to say it, but that's the intention, to lift major ritual impurity. Okay, the not being in a state of wudu is minor ritual impurity. Okay, so the minor one is wudu, and the major one requires ghusl. Okay. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Damn. And then the second one is that water covers the entire body, okay? So if you're in a shower, when the water touches the head, that's where the intention begins, okay? And the water needs to reach everywhere. So ear holes, all of the folds of the ear. If the person is, quite large, then they need to make sure that the water gets everywhere, okay? If they've got, they need to basically make sure the water gets everywhere. Okay?
What if you don't want to wash your hair?
You have to wash your hair. You have to wash your hair. So if you've got whatever, products is what he said. Definitely Khalid's brother, this guy. You need to wash your hair completely. Okay, so if you've got gel or waxing, you need to make sure all of that is out and the water needs to be clean. If for girls they've got bubbles or hair ties or whatever, they need to wash their hair. Okay, naam. Or undo it all to like a plait, naam. So that's the two things. Okay, underarms, ear holes. Also, in some schools, it's actually vital to wash the mouth and the nose, okay? But in the Shafi'i school, you don't have to wash the mouth and the nose, but it would be recommended to do so, okay? As part of the ghusl, okay? If you've got rings need to come off. Under the rings, like everything needs to be washed, okay? Yeah, makes sense, inshallah. There are 6 things that require a person to perform this ghusl. 6 things, okay? So, now, the first is hayd, which is menstruation. Obviously, this is only for women. 3 of them are only for women, okay? And then the other 3 are for men and for women. So the first is hayd. When a woman is on her period, once she completes her period, she has to do this ghusl, okay? when she's free from bleeding. The second is nifas, which is postnatal bleeding, okay? And it's the bleeding that happens to a woman after she gives birth, okay? Once that is done, it's approximately 40 days. On average, it's about 40 days, but it can be like up to 60 days. And for some people, it can be a lot less than that, okay? The minimum is like a second, okay? But after that is done, for approximately 40 days after she gives birth, she'll bleed for 40 days. After that happens, she needs to have a ghusl. That's the third one. The second one. The third one is childbirth itself. So after childbirth, she needs to have a ghusl. Okay, those are three for the women. And then for the men and women, death. Death is what requires a person to have ghusl. Okay, but obviously, as the man or the woman has passed away, it is a communal obligation upon the people around this person to wash the body for the person. Men wash men, women wash women. Okay, unless they're spouses, the spouse can wash the spouse of the who passed away. Okay. So ghusl. So the room that we have here, people, that's the wash that we're doing. We're doing ghusl for them. Okay, with the same conditions. We've talked about the minimum, but again, there's a lot more recommended actions that can be done with the ghusl. Okay, and yeah, it's recommended to. Obviously, it would be recommended to do the more sunnahs with regards to ghusl, especially for those who pass away from your loved ones. People should know how to do it correctly, so that when their loved ones pass away, they're doing the ghusl correctly before they shroud them and bury them. Okay? Now, Yusuf, can you check if there's some tissue in the bathroom, please? That's fine. So that's 4, okay? The other 2, I'm not comfortable doing them in front of my little brother, so I've sent him off. Is the penis entering the vagina, okay? It literally the tip of the penis or the bell end going into the vagina. That requires both the man and the woman to perform ghusl. Even if the man doesn't ejaculate, he's required to perform ghusl, okay? And then the second one, or the sixth one, is sexual fluid being released from the body for a man and for a woman. Okay, if that happens, the person is required to have a ghusl. Okay, those are the 6 things, inshallah. So when we do a recap next week, we'll do the 4, and then I'll send my little brother off. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide and protect us and allow us to act upon the knowledge that we learn, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. Alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط